Have you ever noticed how simple things, like climbing a few stairs or remembering a friend's name, start to feel harder as the years go by? Maybe you wake up at night, restless and tired, or find your balance isn't quite what it used to be. Many of us chalk these struggles up to just getting old, accepting them as an inevitable part of life. But what if I told you that these challenges might not be just about age? That some of the things we blame on growing older caused by factors we often overlook? It's easy to dismiss these signs as minor annoyances, yet they quietly chip away at our independence and joy. The truth is, understanding what's going on can make a world of difference. In today's video, we'll explore the hidden reasons behind these common struggles and reveal simple, science-backed steps that can help you feel stronger, sharper, and more vibrant. Stick around, because at the end, I'll share one powerful habit that can transform the way you age gracefully, without feeling like you're losing yourself. Let's walk this path together, gently and thoughtfully. If you are not subscribed, subscribe and activate the notification bell so you don't miss any videos. If you like the topic of this video, please comment 1. If you don't, please comment 0 to let me know how I can improve and make better videos for you. Now, let's begin. Section 1. Understanding your true worth. Have you ever found yourself sitting quietly by the window, watching the world move quickly outside, and wondered if you still matter as much as you used to? Maybe you recall the busy days of working, raising children, or helping friends and neighbors. Life seemed so full of purpose back then. So many people depended on you, your presence made a difference, and your voice carried weight in every decision. But now, as time moves on and the hustle and bustle quiets down, there's this lingering question in the back of your mind. Am I still as valuable as I once was? If you've felt this way, you're certainly not alone. Many people in their golden years experience these quiet doubts, though most keep them tucked away, thinking it's just a natural part of aging. Family gatherings sometimes shift their focus to the younger generation. Conversations turn to topics you can't quite relate to, or old friends move away or pass on, leaving empty spaces at the table and in your heart. Perhaps you've noticed how society often celebrates youth and energy, while wisdom and experience sometimes get pushed quietly aside. But let me ask you this. Who said our worth disappears just because our pace changes or our role in the world looks different? Why do we so often measure value by how busy or productive we are? Is it true that growing older means we become invisible or less important? What if, instead, these years are not a slow fading away but a time to rediscover a deeper, richer sense of self-worth? One that isn't tied to job titles, outward achievements, or how many tasks we cross off each day. What if, instead of seeing yourself as less than, you could see yourself as more than, more experienced, more compassionate, more resilient, and yes, more worthy than ever? The truth is, our culture often equates value with doing rather than being. From an early age, we're taught to define ourselves by what we accomplish. Retirement can feel, at first, like a loss of that sense of purpose. But science tells us that our sense of self-worth doesn't have to decline with age. Psychologists have found that people who recognize and embrace their intrinsic worth, meaning the value that comes simply from being alive, from having lived, from the wisdom in their stories, are healthier, happier, and more connected than those who let external roles define them. Let's look at what creates a sense of worth. Studies from leading American universities like Harvard and Stanford show that older adults contribute something unique and irreplaceable to their families and communities. It's not just about offering advice, though that's important, but about the emotional stability, patience, and life experience you bring to every relationship. Your life story is a living textbook for the next generation. Children and grandchildren learn empathy, resilience, and courage not from textbooks but from watching how you faced adversity, found joy in simple things, and kept going, even when life threw you curveballs. Neuroscientists also point out that having a sense of purpose, no matter how simple, stimulates areas of the brain associated with well-being and happiness. This is not about going back to work or chasing big achievements. It's about recognizing that your worth is already here, woven into the fabric of your life. Whether you're sharing stories with your grandchildren, lending a hand at a local food bank, or just smiling at a stranger on your morning walk, you are still shaping the world in ways you may never fully see. So, how do you rediscover and embrace your true worth when the world seems so eager to move on? It doesn't have to be difficult or overwhelming. Sometimes, it starts with a small act, a quiet moment of reflection, a simple journal entry, or a kind word to yourself. Try asking yourself at the end of each day, what is one thing I did today that mattered, even in a small way? Maybe you listened patiently to a friend on the phone. Maybe you made someone laugh. Maybe you simply took care of yourself with a nutritious meal or a peaceful walk in the park. Each of these moments carries value. Here's something you can do right now. Take a few minutes, grab a piece of paper or a notebook, and write down 3 things about yourself that make you proud. Not achievements, but qualities. Are you a good listener? Have you survived hard times with grace? Do you offer kindness, even on your bad days? Focusing on these inner strengths helps shift your perspective from what you do to who you are. Let me tell you about Helen, a woman I met at a local senior center last year. Helen spent most of her life teaching elementary school. After she retired, she felt lost. No more lesson plans, no more children to guide, no bells ringing to start or end her day. For a while, Helen tried to keep busy with hobbies, but she still felt like she'd left her best years behind. One afternoon, her granddaughter asked her to help with a school project on family history. Helen began to share stories from her childhood, growing up during the war, learning to sew her clothes, and the first time she met her husband at a town dance. To Helen's surprise, her granddaughter was completely enthralled. Soon, Helen's stories became the heart of family gatherings, and she even started volunteering at the local library to read to children. In giving her stories, Helen discovered her worth was not just in the past, but alive and growing every day. She touched someone's heart. Helen told me, "I used to think I had nothing left to give. But now I realize that just being here, just sharing what I've learned, means more than I ever knew." Your story might look different, but the truth remains: worth doesn't fade with time. It deepens. If you're struggling with doubts, I want to encourage you. This chapter of life is not about losing value, but about living it more fully than ever. Take time to appreciate the wisdom you carry, the patience you've developed, and the kindness you've shown. Your presence has ripple effects in ways you might never see. Remember, value isn't measured by what you can lift or how many people need you every minute. It's measured by the love you've given, the lives you've touched, and the courage it takes to keep showing up each day. So, as you continue through this video and beyond, try to see yourself through a new lens. When you look in the mirror, don't focus on what's changed. Focus on what's grown. There is strength in your story, power in your presence, and endless worth in your heart. You are not invisible. You are not less than. You are here, and you matter more than words can say. And if you ever doubt that, remember Helen's journey, or better yet, start a new one of your own. The world needs your story, your wisdom, and your light. Embrace your true worth, because the best chapters may be just beginning. Section 2. Accepting the changes that come with aging. There's a quiet moment that comes to so many of us as we age. A moment when, in the hush of the early morning or the stillness of an afternoon, we realize that something about our bodies or our lives is different. Maybe your knees creak when you climb the stairs, or your hands tremble just a bit more than you remember. Perhaps you catch yourself searching for your reading glasses, only to find them perched right on your head. Maybe sleep doesn't come as easily, or the mirror reflects a face more lined than you feel inside. These changes can arrive slowly, so subtly that you hardly notice them at first. Then one day, you find yourself missing the energy you had in your 40s, or feeling frustrated by the aches that never seem to fully fade. It's easy, in these moments, to feel a pang of loss, a quiet grief for the youth and agility that once seemed so permanent. For many older Americans, this gradual shift becomes a daily companion, a whisper that says, "You're not as strong, not as sharp, not as lively as before." But here's the question I want to gently place before you. What if these changes aren't just losses to mourn, but invitations to a new kind of freedom? What if accepting them isn't about giving up, but about finding a deeper sense of peace and even joy? It's a surprising idea, isn't it? We're taught all our lives that youth is to be cherished and that aging is something to resist, to fight with every tool we can find. Creams and vitamins, exercise regimens, and diets all promise to turn back the clock. Commercials and movies fill our heads with images of ageless energy and effortless beauty. So when our bodies and minds change, as they inevitably do, it's easy to feel like we're doing something wrong. Like we've failed at some secret test. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 1 below to let me know that you are still here with me. But what if we've been looking at this the wrong way? Science, and the wisdom of many who have walked this path before us, suggests that acceptance isn't about resignation or defeat. Studies show that those who accept the changes of aging with compassion and curiosity are happier, healthier, and live longer than those who spend their days fighting against the tide. Let's look a little closer at what's happening inside and outside our bodies. As we age, it's natural for our skin to thin, for our joints to grow stiff, and for our reflexes to slow down. The brain, too, changes, sometimes forgetting names or taking a little longer to find the right words. These are not signs of failure, but the natural rhythm of a life well lived. The heart that's beat through decades, the hands that have held babies and built homes, the mind that's weathered storms and celebrated triumphs, they've all earned these changes. A report from the National Institute on Aging reminds us that some decline is a normal part of growing older, but it's only one part of the story. Research has shown that many older adults develop deeper emotional resilience, greater empathy, and a steadier sense of perspective. The brain's emotional centers, the parts that help us process joy, gratitude, and meaning, often remain strong or even improve with age. That's why acceptance isn't just putting up with aches or forgetting a name now and then. It's about honoring what your body and mind have carried you through, and making peace with the rhythm of change. Acceptance allows you to focus on what you still can do, what still brings you joy, and how you can adapt to meet new challenges with grace and good humor. So, how do you move from frustration to acceptance? It starts with self-kindness. When you notice a new ache or a slower step, try to meet it the way you would comfort a friend, gently, with understanding. Instead of asking, "Why can't I be like I was?" try asking, "How can I care for myself right now, in this moment?" There are small, practical ways to practice this every day. If your knees are stiff, warm them up with gentle stretches in the morning. If you tire more easily, permit yourself to rest without guilt. Your body is working hard, even if it's not moving as quickly. If you feel discouraged by changes in memory, keep a notepad handy or use your phone to set reminders. These aren't signs of weakness, they're signs of wisdom, adapting so you can keep living fully. Another powerful tool is mindfulness. You don't need to sit cross-legged for an hour. Just spend a few quiet minutes breathing deeply and noticing your body, without judgment. This simple act has been shown to lower stress, improve sleep, and even ease chronic pain. Mindfulness helps shift your focus from what's missing to what's present, from what's gone to what's still possible. Let me share with you the story of Jack, a retired firefighter from Ohio. Jack spent decades rushing into burning buildings, saving lives, and priding himself on his strength and quick reflexes. But in his 70s, Jack noticed his body wasn't keeping up the way it used to. Climbing ladders became harder, his hands were less steady, and sometimes he'd forget why he'd walked into a room. For a while, Jack fought these changes fiercely. He pushed himself too hard at the gym, grew frustrated, and felt isolated from friends who seemed to cope better. One day, after a small fall in his backyard, Jack realized he needed to try something different. He joined a Tai Chi class at the local community center, surrounded by others who were learning to move with their changing bodies. The slow, flowing movements felt strange at first, nothing like the action he was used to. But over time, Jack began to appreciate the grace in these gentle forms. He found new friends, learned to laugh at his missteps, and felt his balance improve. Jack says, "Accepting that I'm not the man I was at 30 was tough, but now, I see I'm still strong, just in a different way." Jack's story is not about giving up. It's about embracing what is real and finding ways to grow within it. Acceptance doesn't mean you stop caring for your health. In fact, it helps you care more wisely. It means you can still celebrate victories, whether they're big or small. Maybe you walk to the mailbox every day, try a new recipe, or simply enjoy a quiet afternoon nap. These are all acts of living well. And for those days when acceptance feels hard, remember, you're not alone. Every line on your face, every silver hair, every story you carry is shared by millions of others on the same journey. Reach out to friends, join a group, or talk to your doctor about changes that concern you. Sometimes, just sharing your feelings with someone who understands is the first step toward peace. So today, as you listen to this message, permit yourself to feel all the feelings that come with aging. The nostalgia, the frustration, and even the hope. Instead of seeing your changing body or mind as a loss, see it as the evidence of a life lived with courage and heart. Celebrate what your hands have built, what your eyes have seen, and what your soul has learned. The truth is, every stage of life brings new lessons and gifts. In accepting the changes that come with aging, you allow yourself to receive the joys and wisdom of this chapter. You open the door to laughter, connection, and a sense of ease that can't be found when we're busy wishing for what was. So here's my encouragement for you. Be gentle with yourself. Greet each new day, and each new wrinkle or ache, with gratitude for the journey so far. Aging is not an enemy, but a companion that walks with us as we continue to grow. When you embrace these changes, you discover not just acceptance but the freedom to live each day with authenticity, peace, and a deeper sense of self-love. The story of your life is still being written, and every chapter matters, including this one. Section 3. Building meaningful relationships and community connections. There's a quiet, often unspoken truth that many of us discover as we grow older. The world can feel much lonelier than it once did. Maybe your house is quieter these days. Children have moved away, old friends don't call as often, or a beloved spouse is no longer at your side. The days seem to stretch longer, and sometimes the phone just sits in silence. You might find yourself reminiscing about the years when your calendar was full, when the neighborhood buzzed with activity, and laughter spilled from the kitchen after Sunday dinner. It's easy to think that loneliness is just a part of getting older, something inevitable, like graying hair or needing reading glasses. After all, society seems to focus so much on the young, on busy families, and the constant rush of modern life. If you're feeling disconnected or isolated, you might quietly wonder, is this just how it is now? Or perhaps you tell yourself it's too late to forge new friendships or rebuild old ones, that meaningful connections belong to another chapter of your life. But what if that's not the whole story? What if it's not too late? And what if loneliness isn't just an unavoidable part of aging, but a challenge that can be transformed? Recent research in psychology and aging tells us something hopeful. Meaningful relationships and a sense of belonging are just as important in our later years as they were in youth, perhaps even more so. And the beautiful truth is, you have the power to create new connections, revive old ones, and find your community at any age. Let's take a closer look at why relationships matter so much for seniors. Scientists at the National Institute on Aging and Harvard Medical School have found that people over 65 who maintain strong social ties live longer, have better health, and experience lower rates of depression and cognitive decline. It's not just about avoiding loneliness. Being part of a community actually boosts your immune system, keeps your brain sharper, and even reduces the risk of heart disease. Human beings are wired for connection, and that doesn't change with age. Yet, it's not always easy. Sometimes it takes courage to step out of your comfort zone or to reach out to someone new. You might worry about rejection or feel that you have little in common with others. Or maybe you're shy, or haven't made a new friend in years. But here's the good news. Building meaningful relationships doesn't have to be complicated, and it's never too late to start. A gentle first step is simply to say yes to invitations, even when you feel hesitant. Whether it's a community potluck, a church gathering, or a book club meeting at the library, showing up is half the battle. And if invitations are few and far between, don't be afraid to take initiative yourself. Pick up the phone and call an old friend. Invite a neighbor over for coffee. Smile at someone new when you're out for a walk. Another practical way to connect is by joining groups centered around shared interests or experiences. In towns and cities across America, senior centers, hobby clubs, fitness classes, and volunteer organizations are bustling with opportunities for friendship. Maybe you love gardening, or always wanted to learn painting, or have a passion for helping others. Chances are, there's a group out there waiting for you. When you join with others around a common goal, conversation flows more naturally and bonds form more quickly. Technology, too, can be a lifeline, especially if mobility is a challenge. Learning to use email, video calls, or social media may feel daunting at first, but it can open doors to distant family and old friends. Grandparents are now reading bedtime stories to grandchildren across the country with the tap of a button. Online support groups connect people facing similar health challenges or life changes, making the world feel a little smaller and warmer. Let me tell you about Margaret, a widowed woman in her early 80s from Minnesota. After her husband passed, Margaret found herself alone in a house that once overflowed with love and laughter. For months, she retreated inward, convinced that her days of making friends were over. But one afternoon, she noticed a flyer at her local grocery store for a knitting club. She hadn't knitted in years, but something nudged her to try. The first meeting was awkward, her hands shook, and she felt out of place. But the women welcomed her, sharing stories, laughter, and sometimes tears. Over time, Margaret not only rekindled an old hobby but found a circle of friends who became like family. She even taught a new member how to knit, passing on her wisdom. Margaret says, "I thought I'd lost my community, but I found a new one, stitch by stitch." If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment below to let me know that you are still here with me. Stories like Margaret's are happening every day. Seniors who join walking groups and discover lifelong companions, men who volunteer at local food banks and find purpose and brotherhood, women who take up watercolor painting and end up laughing over tea after class. Sometimes, the smallest step, a phone call, a visit, a shared meal, leads to the deepest bonds. It's also important to remember that meaningful relationships aren't just about quantity, but quality. Even one true friend, or a handful of caring neighbors, can make all the difference. Sometimes family fills this role, but often it's the people you meet along the way who become your chosen family. These are the people who remember your birthday, check in when you're feeling low, or sit with you through tough times. Of course, relationships take effort at any age. There may be misunderstandings or disappointments, and building trust can take time. But with patience and openness, even the shyest heart can find a place to belong. Practice listening as much as you speak. Share your own stories and be willing to hear others. Forgive quickly and reach out again, even when it feels vulnerable. Remember, everyone you meet is carrying their worries, hopes, and dreams, just like you. For those who struggle with mobility or chronic illness, connecting may feel harder, but it's still possible. Ask your doctor about transportation options or look for programs that bring activities right to your door. Some churches and community groups offer visits for homebound seniors, bringing warmth and conversation into your living room. And don't forget the power of giving back. Volunteering, no matter how small the task, is one of the most powerful ways to feel connected. Whether it's reading to children at the library, helping at an animal shelter, or organizing a food drive, serving others not only helps your community but also brings meaning and joy to your own life. So, if you're feeling isolated, please know that you are not alone, and it's never too late to build new relationships or renew old ones. Start small, and be kind to yourself. Each connection, each shared moment, is a step toward a richer, fuller life. As you look ahead, remember, community isn't just a place or a group of people. It's a feeling of belonging, a sense that you matter and that others care about you. You have so much to offer, and there are hearts out there waiting to connect with yours. Let today be the day you reach out, even in a small way. The world is full of possibilities, and your next true friend might be just a smile, a call, or a handshake away. Building meaningful relationships is not just for the young. It's a lifelong journey, and it's one of the greatest gifts of aging gracefully. Your story, your kindness, your laughter, and your wisdom are needed now more than ever. So go ahead. Let the world hear your voice and feel your presence. You belong, right here, right now. Section 4. Nourishing your soul through passions and hobbies. There's a particular kind of quiet that can settle in after retirement, a quiet that is peaceful on some days, but on others, can feel almost too empty. Maybe you wake up without the rush of getting ready for work, or find your afternoons stretch long after the grandchildren have gone home. For many, this stillness is both a gift and a challenge. You might look around and wonder, what do I do with all this time? How do I fill these days with something meaningful, something that makes me feel alive again? It's easy to dismiss this restlessness as just part of getting older. Some people shrug and say, I've done all I needed to do in life, now I just rest. But deep down, you might sense something is missing. The truth is, no matter our age, we all need a reason to wake up excited, to learn, to create, to share. And while our bodies may slow down, the hunger of the soul, the desire for joy, for purpose, for a spark of creativity, never really goes away. What if retirement, or simply this season of life, is not about fading away, but about finally having the freedom to explore the passions you put aside for so many years? What if these quieter days are an invitation to rediscover old hobbies, or to try something you've never dared before? Studies from American universities like Stanford and Johns Hopkins show that pursuing passions and hobbies in later life doesn't just fill the time. It improves your mental health, sharpens your memory, lowers stress, and even helps protect against depression and cognitive decline. Think about it. Your mind, your hands, and your heart are capable of so much, even now. Every time you pick up a paintbrush, strum a guitar, plant a tomato, bake bread, write a poem, or even solve a crossword puzzle, you're feeding your soul in ways that science is only beginning to understand. It's not about being the best or winning prizes. It's about the pure joy of creation and discovery. But maybe you're wondering, isn't it too late to start something new? I've never been artistic, or musical, or athletic. Here's where I want to gently challenge those old beliefs. Recent research has found that older adults not only benefit from learning new skills, but their brains remain remarkably adaptable, capable of growth, change, and delight. The act of learning itself is deeply nourishing. It helps create new neural pathways, keeps your mind alert, and gives you a deep sense of satisfaction that you just can't get from television or routine chores. So, how do you begin? Sometimes, it starts with remembering what used to light you up. Did you love to draw as a child, but set it aside for a busy career? Did you once play the piano or sing in a choir? Or have you always admired gardeners, woodworkers, dancers, or storytellers from afar, wishing you had the time to try? Now is your moment. And if you truly don't know where to start, ask yourself, what have I always been curious about? Curiosity is a powerful guide, even late in life. Let's get practical. Many communities offer classes for seniors in everything from watercolor painting to yoga, creative writing to flower arranging, line dancing to bird watching. Your local senior center, library, or community college is a treasure trove of opportunities. These classes aren't just about learning a skill. They're about laughter, connection, and belonging. You might walk into a room full of strangers and leave with new friends and new confidence. Technology, too, can open doors to passions you never imagined. Online platforms offer tutorials for everything from cooking to digital photography to learning a new language. You can join virtual book clubs, watch lectures from world-class experts, or even play chess with someone across the globe. And if you're nervous about technology, remember, it's never too late to learn, and there's always a helpful grandchild, neighbor, or librarian ready to guide you. Let me share with you the story of Charles, a retired postal worker from Oregon. After his wife passed away, Charles found the days heavy with grief and the house painfully silent. For months, he drifted, unsure of how to move forward. One afternoon, while cleaning out the garage, he found his old fishing rod and a box of paints left from his children's school days. On a whim, Charles took the rod down to a nearby lake. He didn't catch any fish, but he found himself mesmerized by the way the sunlight played across the water. The next day, he tried to paint what he saw. His first attempt was rough, but something in him woke up. Slowly, Charles made painting and fishing part of his weekly rhythm. He signed up for a local art class, where he met other seniors who were beginners too. They traded stories, shared tips, and encouraged each other. Charles says, "I realized I didn't need to be good at it. The joy came from trying, from being in the moment, and from letting myself feel alive again." His days are now filled with color and laughter. His grief has softened, replaced by new friendships and a renewed sense of purpose. Stories like Charles's happen every day. A grandmother learns to quilt and ends up making blankets for a local shelter. A retired nurse takes up photography and finds beauty in everyday moments. A former accountant joins a community theater group and discovers the thrill of performing on stage. These passions don't just pass the time. They heal old wounds, spark new friendships, and remind us that life is still unfolding, still full of possibility. Of course, some days you won't feel inspired. That's okay. The key is to keep showing up, to the garden, the workshop, the class, or even just the blank page. Allow yourself to be a beginner, to make mistakes, to laugh at your attempts. It's not about perfection, but participation. The act of trying is what nourishes your spirit. If you struggle with health issues or mobility, remember that creativity has no limits. You can write stories, learn an instrument, or paint from a favorite chair. Many organizations even offer home visits or virtual lessons for seniors with special needs. There's always a way to keep your mind and heart engaged. So, as you listen to this, I want to encourage you. Don't let anyone, including yourself, tell you it's too late to find joy, to learn, to create, or to dream. Your passions, whether new or rediscovered, are the food your soul craves. They give you stories to tell, memories to cherish, and reasons to look forward to tomorrow. Take a step today, no matter how small. Sign up for a class, dust off that instrument, buy a new set of paints, or call a friend to try something new together. Permit yourself to be curious, playful, and even a little foolish. You've earned this freedom. You've spent a lifetime caring for others, fulfilling responsibilities, and meeting deadlines. Now is your time to nourish yourself. As you journey through this chapter, let your days be colored with the things that make your heart sing. Passions and hobbies aren't just for the young. They're a lifelong gift, one that becomes even more precious with age. Each new hobby, each creative attempt, each shared moment brings a little more light into the world and your life. So go ahead, feed your soul. Let your passions lead the way. Your best adventures may be just beginning. Section 5. Cultivating self-love and living with gratitude. If you're like many older adults, you may have noticed that as the years pass, you sometimes speak to yourself with more criticism than kindness. Maybe it's a sigh when you catch your reflection and see another wrinkle, or the way you scold yourself for forgetting a name, losing your keys, or not moving as quickly as you used to. These moments can pile up, casting a shadow over your days and making you feel as if you're not quite enough anymore. It's a quiet, familiar ache, the feeling that your best years are behind you, and that your value has faded with time. But let's pause and ask a different question. What if the problem isn't you, but the way you've been taught to look at yourself? What if, instead of constantly measuring yourself against what you once were or what others can do, you could learn to treat yourself with the same gentleness and patience you offer to a dear friend? Isn't it time to turn some of that lifelong care and compassion inward? This may sound simple, even obvious, but for many people it's one of the hardest changes to make. We're raised in a culture that prizes productivity and youth, that celebrates putting others first, and often leaves little room for self-acceptance, especially as we age. Yet science and the wisdom of experience agree. People who nurture self-love and practice gratitude in daily life are not only happier, but healthier, more resilient, and better able to weather the storms that come with getting older. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 3 below to let me know that you are still here with me. So, what does self-love look like? It isn't just pampering yourself, though a relaxing bath or a favorite treat can certainly help on tough days. At its core, self-love is about honoring your journey, accepting your imperfections, and appreciating all that you are right now. Not some idealized version of your younger self, but the wise, caring, courageous person you have become. It means forgiving yourself for mistakes, letting go of old regrets, and making peace with what you cannot change. One powerful, science-backed way to foster self-love is through gratitude. Numerous studies, including those from leading institutions like the Mayo Clinic and Harvard, have shown that regular gratitude practices reduce depression, improve sleep, lower blood pressure, and even strengthen relationships. Gratitude acts like a balm, softening harsh self-judgment and helping you focus on the good that's still present, even in the midst of challenges. How can you begin cultivating these habits in your daily life? It doesn't require big changes, just small, consistent steps. Start by noticing your self-talk. When you catch yourself being overly critical, pause and ask, would I say this to someone I love? If not, try to replace the harshness with understanding. For example, if you forget an appointment, remind yourself that everyone makes mistakes and that your worth isn't defined by perfect memory. Consider starting a gratitude journal. Each evening, write down 3 things you're thankful for, no matter how small. Maybe it's the warmth of sunlight on your face, a pleasant conversation with a neighbor, or simply the comfort of a favorite chair. Over time, you'll find that this practice trains your mind to notice and savor the positive moments, rather than dwell on what's missing. Let me tell you about Dorothy, a retired nurse from North Carolina. After losing her husband, Dorothy struggled with loneliness and self-doubt. She criticized herself for not bouncing back as quickly as she thought she should. One afternoon, her granddaughter brought her a journal and suggested they write down something good from each day. At first, Dorothy found it difficult. Her mind kept drifting to losses and regrets. But little by little, she began to notice small blessings. The taste of a fresh apple, the kindness of a friend, the pride in having raised a loving family. Gradually, Dorothy's outlook changed. She realized she was still strong, still generous, still worthy of love. She began treating herself more gently, taking time to rest, enjoying hobbies she'd neglected, and even reaching out to help others in her community. I used to think gratitude was just for the good times, she says. Now I know it's how you find hope even on the hardest days. Dorothy's story is a testament to the quiet power of self-love and gratitude to transform a life from the inside out. If you live alone or struggle with mobility or illness, self-love can feel even more challenging. On those days, remember that caring for yourself might simply mean honoring your limits, asking for help when you need it, or treating yourself to small comforts, like listening to your favorite music or enjoying a cup of tea. Don't compare your journey to anyone else's. You are walking your unique path, and every step you take is enough. Another way to deepen self-love and gratitude is to celebrate your strengths and the resilience you've built over the years. Reflect on the obstacles you've overcome, the kindness you've shown, and the wisdom you've gained. Make a list of qualities you admire in yourself, and read it aloud when you're feeling low. Share your gratitude with others. Thank a friend for their support, express appreciation to your caregivers, or write a letter to someone who's made a difference in your life. Generosity of spirit not only lifts others but reminds you of your capacity for love. If spiritual practices bring you comfort, consider integrating prayer, meditation, or inspirational reading into your daily routine. Many seniors find that spiritual reflection helps them maintain perspective and find peace, especially during times of change or loss. Above all, give yourself grace. No one is perfect, and aging is a process of continual adjustment, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. Some days will be easier than others, but each day is an opportunity to start anew, to treat yourself with the kindness you so willingly offer to others. As you move forward, remember, self-love and gratitude aren't about denying pain or pretending everything is fine. They're about choosing, again and again, to notice the beauty, the growth, and the goodness that still fill your life. They are practices, habits to be nurtured, not destinations to reach. So today, look in the mirror and smile at the person you see. Acknowledge the journey that's brought you here. The hardships, the joys, the ordinary moments that matter more than you once realized. Thank yourself for all the ways you've shown up for life. And as you go about your day, keep your eyes open for small moments of gratitude, a friendly wave, the taste of morning coffee, the laughter of a child nearby. You are worthy of love, not despite your age, but because of it. You are living proof that a grateful heart and a gentle spirit can light up any room, lift any mood, and transform any day. Let that love and gratitude begin with you, and watch as it spreads outward, touching everyone around you. This chapter of your life is not an ending, but a time for deeper appreciation. For yourself, for those you cherish, and for the world that is still full of gifts to notice. Embrace self-love and gratitude, not just as ideas, but as daily companions. You'll find, as so many have, that the more you nurture these qualities, the more peace, joy, and meaning your days will hold. Your heart has so much more to give, and it all begins with being kind to yourself. As we come to the close of this journey together, I want to remind you of something truly important. Your worth is timeless. No matter what changes life has brought, no matter the challenges or quiet moments of doubt, you are deeply valuable, just as you are. Aging is not about losing parts of yourself, but about discovering new layers of strength, wisdom, and grace. Throughout this video, we've explored how understanding your true worth, accepting the natural changes of aging, building meaningful connections, nurturing your passions, and cultivating self-love and gratitude can transform your experience of growing older. These are not just ideas. They are keys to living your golden years with joy, peace, and purpose. Remember Helen's story, who found renewed meaning by sharing her life stories. Think of Jack, who embraced gentle movement and discovered new strength. Reflect on Dorothy, whose gratitude reshaped her world. Their journeys show that it's never too late to grow, to connect, and to love yourself deeply. Now, I invite you to reflect. What is one lesson or insight from today's video that speaks most to your heart? How will you bring that into your life starting now? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Your story may inspire someone else who needs to hear it. If this video touched you, please like and share it with friends and family. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more uplifting content designed especially for you. Together, we are building a community that honors the beauty and strength of every stage of life. Thank you for spending this time with me. Embrace your worth, cherish each day, and remember, you are never alone on this remarkable journey. Your best chapters are still ahead.